Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. It's Friday. You know what that means.
Front Office Friday! Get your shopping done edition.
Get your shopping done edition. I'm Trevor Lane, joined by Keith Smith. Keith, have you done any Black Friday shopping?
I have not, so I'm admonishing myself. But we did a lot of shopping already. Okay. Is Black Friday still what it once was? I don't feel like it is.
No, especially for those of us that are old enough to remember standing out in line at like 3 a.m. in front of Best Buy, that type of stuff. No, I don't think it's now. It's like there's all these deals that take place all week, all month. There's constantly deals, and half the time when I see them, I look at the pricing and I think, is that even a deal? Most of the time, I think what they really do is they just bump the price up like $200 the week before, and then bring it back down to the normal price and say, "Look, we took $200 off. What a steal! What a discount!" And get people to in their Black Friday frenzy to just buy. It does. You're right. It does not feel the same.
Little back in my day moment. Remember, like people used to get in fights.
Oh yeah,
like full on fist fights and stuff, and people would sleep out in front of stores. There's a big thing in my family. They'd get all the papers, Thursday papers, because those would have all the deals in them, and then they'd map out like which of the aunts was going where and all this stuff, and which uncles had to go because they had to carry TVs or whatever it was back when TVs actually weighed a metric ton, because TVs were these monster giant things that took up half your room. So but oh well.
That was was that, have we moved on to a better time, or was that a rite of passage that we now are denied?
I do like that we moved away from, do you remember a lot of store? This is the person who worked for Disney and me, who worked every holiday for 20 years, pretty much. But I do like that they stopped opening stores at like 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving. Because it's like, why are we not let these people who are in these sucky retail jobs that are going to get screamed and yelled at anyway, let them have the holiday off and then get them there at 5 a.m. or whatever the next morning. That is what it is. I mean, that's part of working there. But yeah, I think it's a little bit better now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that as much as, getting up super early and standing in front of the store and then fighting the crowds and the mad rush when the doors open to get in and trying to find, like you said, people literally making maps of the stores. It was an event, but it started to encroach upon Thanksgiving itself. And for the people that worked it was awful. Now you could just go online. It may not be the same deals. You probably have to do some digging and such to find the deals, but probably better than actually being out there. There were people who would camp out in a tent like the day before and stuff to make sure they were first in line. Anyway, that was crazy. Here we go. Yeah, I stood outside of for a Wii on Black Friday. For $100 back then. Now a Switch $499 normally on a Black Friday. It's $498 slashed down from $699. Yes. Yeah. I actually remember that Black Friday where everybody was going crazy over the Nintendo Wii.
My internship year with Disney, I got my PS2 the day after Christmas, actually, at the Virgin Megastore at Downtown Disney. So this is very dating because it's not called Downtown Disney anymore, and it's the Virgin Megastore is long since gone. But I actually had to go wait in line, and I was able to get a PS2 that way. So that worked out okay.
Yeah, the PS2. It was a good system.
Yeah, and then when me and my buddy Jay drove home after our internships, we drove home from Massachusetts. When we stopped and put up for the night, we had literally like our entire lives in the car, and we both brought in our PS2s into the hotel room with us. Left everything else in the car.
Yeah. There you go. Yep. Yeah. You bring in the most important stuff.
That's it.
All right, we've got a lot of stuff to get into here. Black Friday. Keith, we spent the first 5 minutes of the show talking about Black Friday, reminiscing a little bit, but we got plenty to get into.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's get into this stuff. Okay, let's go here. Well, I mean, I guess we'll just get straight into a Lakers question. Who is the best player the Lakers can get for Dalton Connect and picks, or a pick? Maybe we'll find out. I don't know. I wouldn't look at Dalton Knecht as somebody who, right now, when the Lakers have everybody healthy, he's not in the rotation. I would have to imagine that even if they were missing a couple of guys and someone else needed to be put in the rotation, I would assume Jared Vanderbilt would probably be ahead of him in that rotation, though that's not 100%, but that would be my guess. So for a guy that is struggling to crack the rotation, he still has some upside and whatnot, but I can't imagine the teams are tripping over themselves to give big value for Dalton Knecht right now. So with that being the case, I think the Lakers are probably going to have to be looking for some sort of a distressed value asset. I think the very best case scenario is we're probably talking like a Keon Ellis type when we're factoring in salaries and matching them and things like that, and depending on what the pick looks like and all of that. I don't think the Dalton Knecht. Let's put it this way, Keith, just to tie a bow on this. Nobody's giving up first round value right now for Dalton Knecht.
Yeah, correct. The value here would be the pick or picks. Tell me what those pick or picks are, and I can give you a better idea what they can go get. And Dalton Knecht alone, there's just not a lot of value there. It's fine if you're a rebuilding team like the Kings. You made perfect example. Yeah, if they could get even a heavily protected first and Knecht for Keon Ellis, sure, why not? Like I would do that all day long if I'm the Kings, because that's a first, and maybe Knecht pops for them when he's in a rebuilding spot and can play 25 minutes a night. Maybe he does finally go. So, but yeah, it's the value would be in the picks there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. With the Magic's cap situation, do you see them trading Anthony Black? And Trev, with Sam and Luke having the same agency, do you think the Lakers would be interested? I'm sure the Lakers would be interested, but Anthony Black blew up the other day. He passed his career high in the first half. I want to say he had like 27 in the first. Great. He's been playing excellent. So no, I don't think if the Magic do anything to free up cap flexibility, I don't think Anthony Black winds up being the casualty of that.
No, they would move like Jonathan Isaac before they'd move Anthony Black. There's probably maybe a couple other guys that would get moved before they'd move Anthony Black. He still has a year left on his rookie scale. Now, if we're talking 2 years from now, and we're going in, or really like a year from now, and they didn't reach an extension this coming summer, and we're going into him being a restricted free agent, and the cap sheet is still really flush with big money, then maybe something becomes a conversation point. But yeah, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be I don't think he's going anywhere. I think we are now more looking at if they trade one of the bigger name players in to kind of rebalance things, Anthony Black stays as a starter, and they definitely need him because he's kind of their Jalen Suggs insurance right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not the move that they're going to make. Let's go here. Hey, Keith, Trev, happy holidays. Please clarify something to me regarding bird rights. I've tried asking this before, but I wasn't answered. When a team waives their bird rights on their free agent too,
there's multiple. I think he ran out of characters. Okay. So there's multiple things. Basically, what he's saying is if a player is they renounce a player's bird rights for cap space, then they re-sign the player to a minimum contract. Do they have bird rights the year after that? And the answer is yes. They would have bird rights after that. Player only loses bird rights if they're traded while on a 1-year contract or a 1-year contract with an option year. That's why they get that de facto no trade clause there, or they can waive it, which we've now seen becoming a thing. So you would keep they would keep their bird rights, and then it would they would be able to basically re-sign that player to more money. Kind of not exactly, but this sort of came up with the Heat several years ago. They had Goran Dragic. They wanted to use cap space. The year they got Jimmy Butler, they renounced Goran Dragic, re-signed him to a smaller deal. I think they actually used part of the exception to do it, but then they had his bird rights after 1 year and then signed him to a bigger deal after that. So it was all just kind of a wink and a nod. And it was funny because it was in the middle of a whole bunch of circumvention stuff that was being thrown around with a bunch of teams. And it's not really circumvention. It's more just smart cap management. So, yeah.
I mean, and this is something that we see now and then in the NFL, where the NFL will, rather than where a player will rather than seeing a player just get waived, they will agree to take a lesser contract to restructure their deal, things of that nature. Now, the NFL and the NBA work very, very differently, but yeah, I mean, there's going to be situations like that where a team goes to a player and says, you know what, like you've got this much money left. It's a team option. We're not going to pick it up, but we do want to keep you around. Maybe there's some other path that we can take in order to do that. But if you tell us, no, you must pick up my option, then okay, we're not going to do that and we're going to move on.
Yeah, the Bucks did something similar with George Hill a number of years ago where they actually waived George Hill from a non-guaranteed contract, and then they ended up re-signing him later after waiving him because the idea was just to bring his number down. Why are they called bird rights? They were named after Larry Bird. When bird rights were established, the idea was teams are like, wait, we can't go over the salary cap, so we're going to lose some of our best players. And one of the feelings was, well, then we're going to everybody's going to run out of space and guys are just going to be out of the league. And that's why they created, because the example that was being used was Larry Bird at the time, was the Boston Celtics can go over the cap to re-sign Larry Bird. Here's the funny part. They never did. Bird rights were never used to re-sign Larry Bird. But it maintains being called bird rights.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Wasn't there something similar? Gosh, it's been long enough that I can't remember exactly what it was. The Allen Houston rule.
The Allen Houston rule. What was that one?
I'm trying to remember. There was something that had to do with that where it didn't even wind up applying to Allen Houston that much or something.
Oh, that was the gosh, what didn't they use? That was the amnesty clause, right? Weren't they calling it the Allen Houston thing because they were going to amnesty him? And then they didn't use it on Allen Houston.
Right. That's what it was. Okay.
Yep.
We found it. All right, let's go here. Programming question. Think at some point we'll get a Front Office Friday trade deadline edition where you guys go through the trade machine and make trades for the rumored available players.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
We'll do one too, because Trevor and I get sent no shortage of fake trades. We will do a whole show leading up to the trade. This will be after Christmas, sometime in late January. We'll do a whole show of just evaluating fake trades.
Yeah.
Because I personally, guys, if you send me fake trades on social media, unless it's to point out like, hey, I think something's wrong, I'm not generally going to answer, because if I answer one, I'm going to get 50 of them. For every one I answer, and a lot of times I don't want to spend my time doing that.
Yeah, and people are cooking up trades all the time in the trade machine. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun to go in there and start tinkering with stuff. But then you want that validation of like, whoa, I never thought of that trade before. That's an awesome trade. Somebody should really do that. You want to hear that kind of stuff. But we get so many of them. It's difficult, especially during trade season.
Gets to be too much. Yeah. Where I just had it's random, but I just saw this report. Lakers are not playing on the cup court tonight. Sure. Yeah. If players have concerns, don't use it.
100%. I mean, they've got, look, they stopped wearing a jersey because the players believed it was cursed last season. If players have legitimate concerns about safety on the court, they're not going to use that court. And we did see 100%. In that game that the Lakers played that we saw Lakers and Clippers players slipping quite a bit during that game. So could it have just been something funky going on that night? Maybe. But if there's any kind of legitimate concern that, hey, this could cause a serious injury, yeah, you've got another court. Just use the other one. I'm sure the NBA, given that player safety is the reason, they're not going to complain.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. No reason to push things if you don't need to.
Yeah. All right, let's go here. This one said, question, what's your ideal starting lineup and why?
What's the context? Like all-time starting lineup? Like the teams we root for right now? Like, we need more context.
Right. Yeah.
Of current players.
Is it a specific team or who
I'll take Jokic, Giannis, Luka, SGA, and me. and you can have your choice of everybody else for current players.
How many games would that team win?
I don't know. We'd give up a lot of points because I get hunted. Like, I don't know. What got hunted like a dodo bird hunted out of extinction?
Oh, Logan responded and said for the Lakers. I mean,
Oh,
I've talked about this a bunch on Lakers Nation. My preference is Marcus Smart in the starting lineup with Rui Hachimura out, simply because I think it fits the defensive roles of the players. And I'm not the only one that thinks this. There's a number of people who've made this argument, but I think Austin Reeves, as your point of attack, he's been pretty good defensively this season relative to what he's been in the past. But I think having him as your primary point of attack guy is asking a bit much. And so if you bring in Marcus Smart, that slots the other players, I think, a bit better in terms of their defensive roles. You are giving up Rui Hachimura shooting, and he's been one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. So that hurts, but that ultimately lands me at where I really think we should be with this, and that's that the fifth starter for the Lakers is not on the roster right now, because Marcus Smart, Rui Hachimura, Rui gets lost off ball defensively to the point where it's problematic. Smart not consistent enough shooting the three, and do you really want to put those minutes on him? He's been a revelation for them this season, been great, but do you really want to put that kind of a burden on him minutes wise? Probably not if you want to keep him healthy. So I still think the starter that they ultimately need is somebody they're going to have to find on the trade market.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm with you on the Smart part. I've said that over and over again. You need to get him to the playoffs. I'm not even going to say healthy, but as healthy as he can be, because I don't know that he'll be healthy.
Yeah. And that's nothing against people go, oh, you guys hate Rui. No, don't hate Rui. It's just fit. That's all. Yeah. That's all. He's shooting the hell out of the ball. What are your favorite? Let's just go to this one. What are your favorite NBA nicknames? I mean, the Great Barrier Thief is absolutely incredible. What about all time?
Round mound to rebound for Charles Barkley.
One.
That was a really good one. His airness for Michael Jordan.
Sure. That's an all-time classic. Yeah. I mean, technically, it's when your nickname just replaces your name, like it did for Magic. Like that's true. That tells you it's a pretty damn good nickname.
Yeah. I wonder how many people now, like if they didn't know,
if you said Irvin Johnson, how many people would know who you're talking about?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and there was a period, right, where Irvin Johnson was the Sonics center, not Magic.
That's right.
Because he was Magic. Yeah, microwave for Vinnie Johnson. That was a good answer. For Allen Iverson was really good.
That was a good one. Yep.
Yeah, I like
what are some of the other there've been
I'd have to really think through it.
You know what's always fun too is when you go into like Basketball Reference and you find the obscure nicknames that you didn't necessarily know existed. Yeah. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but
we had to make a rule on the Real GM trade forums back in the day. Fans would put in nicknames for players when they were putting in trades. And we'd be like, we don't know who this is. Like, stop putting in the obscure nickname 7 people in your fan base call this guy.
Right.
Because no one knows who this is. So,
all right, let's go here. AD revenge game. Yes, Anthony Davis and DeAndre Ayton will be playing tonight. So AD and DA will be playing tonight. Lakers Mavs revenge game. 40 points, 20 rebounds, 5 blocks. I will be cheering like crazy for that as long as the Lakers win. If the Lakers win, or the Lakers lose, I am going to be so mad at Anthony Davis. Unforgivable, AD. Unforgivable. You want to put up big numbers? That's fine, as long as it's in a loss.
Somebody just posted Herb Jones. No, that's not a nickname, but sure, I agree with that. Herb Jones is pretty good.
Herb Jones. Sure. Herb Jones sounds like a guy who like does your taxes or something.
Yeah, sells State Farm insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
All right, let's go here. D-Rock with a Nets comment here. So Claxton is a small big. Play him next to a bigger big that can shoot. Claxton for Barnes, Chicago first, and Sohan to cut salary for San Antonio. So getting a first.
San Antonio would do that.
Yeah, you're getting that first, taking on that salary as well. Terrence Mann for Simons and the Celtics lottery protected 2026 first.
That I don't know that that's the right pick, but that's that I could see.
I think the question
that gets the Celtics out of the tax.
What happens if the protection comes into play? then what happens to that pick?
Yeah, it would have
That
to
would
roll
be a
over
key
to-
negotiating point in that.
That would have to roll over to seconds because Boston's not going to let that go multiple years.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. I like that trade is fine. Like no issues there for me with that because that gets them out of the tax. And sure, why not?
All right, let's go here. Kevin said if both SGA and Jokic keep up their averages for the entire season and OKC wins 74 games and Denver wins 62,
SGA.
who should be the MVP? Yeah, SGA. If they're going to win, if you're talking about a team that out of an 82 game season, they're going to win 74, they're only going to lose 8 times. Like, yeah, it's going to be SGA.
Well, in his number, it's not like their numbers are even remotely far apart either. SGA's putting up a ridiculous season again.
What if SGA, knock on wood that it doesn't happen, of course, but let's say he suffers an injury and he misses 20 games and they go 18-2 in those 20 games. They just keep on rolling. Would that then be enough of an argument?
Well, he wouldn't be eligible.
Oh, you're right. The eligible. Okay. Yeah. Let's say he plays 65 games on the nose. Sorry. I forgot about the 65 game. Let's say he plays 65 games on the nose. And in the games that they're out, that he's out, they win at the exact same rate as when he was in. Because right now, it doesn't seem to matter who's out for OKC. They just keep rolling.
It really doesn't.
Let's say that happens. Does that then diminish his MVP campaign?
Yeah, probably a little. Like, because this sounds so stupid to put it this way, but how valuable are you if your team doesn't miss a beat when you're out? Right? Like that just means your team is super loaded.
Right.
Then that means any one player is not overly valuable, I guess. So then I don't want anybody to come back and be like, are you saying SGA is not valuable? Because he clearly is. And I just
we're talking about hypothetical.
In this hypothetical, I would pick him as MVP. But in your example, I'd probably at that point flip to Jokic, but I don't know. We'll see.
All right, let's go. Can the Warriors get MPJ and AD?
Yeah, hop on 2K and turn off the cap.
Right. I mean, that's a ton of you got to be willing to give up
$80 million.
Jimmy. I mean, like you'd have to get into play. And that's not even saying like value wise. That's just the math, trying to make the math work on something like that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
There's no way.
That's somebody who has the cap turned off in 2K.
It makes it fun sometimes, but yeah. I still think the Lakers need to make one trade. What do you guys think? 100%. Yeah, they absolutely need to make at least one trade, if not two. And what is Dallas doing, playing and risking players to play today like AD? I mean, if he's ready to play, he's ready to play. Like I don't look at this and say, what are they doing? Risking like he wanted to come back. What was that, Keith? A few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, he wanted to come back, and
this is before Nico was fired. Yeah,
right. So I mean, this is. I don't think the Mavs are like rushing him back or anything. And on the flip side, if you're saying, well, you got to be careful because if he gets hurt again, you can't trade him. I think it's the other way around. I think it's if you don't get him on the floor again and have him on the floor for a serious period of time here, it's going to be really tough to trade him. Like if you just hold him out through the end of December, teams are really going to be scared of trading for him. They need to see him on the floor consistently looking awesome from now until, mid-January if they really want to get serious about trading him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark Stein's been all over that. Like basically as he's surveyed the league, teams are saying we got to see him play. Like we have to see him play. And then his trade value slots back in, presuming, right, he's AD, his trade value slots back into where it should be. But if he can't get on the floor and prove he's healthy, you can't give that up. You're risking getting yourself fired at that point.
Yeah. So. All right. Here's a good question. Why have the Warriors not signed Seth Curry yet? Thought was the plan to sign him in November. So they did hit the point where they could sign him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We're well past it now. My guess is they're just keeping their options open. Signing Seth Curry when they would have basically brought them right up to their hard cap at the second apron, and that would have been it. Like we know how hard it can be to make moves. So I think they're basically saying, let's just keep our options open. He's there if we want him later. Maybe now with Steph out for at least a week, maybe they do say, all right, we need another shooter in there. But my guess is they're content right now to just kind of muddle along.
We need a Curry.
Yeah.
Let,
Could be.
let,
Yeah.
let's go here. Thoughts? Okay, we got into that. Thoughts on the fact they won't be playing on the cup court. Is it good for the NBA if OKC jumps into the top 4 of the draft? Watching good/great teams get the best players in the draft seems like a recipe for disaster.
I mean, good. I don't know.
There's so I do think there's actually a somewhat interesting conversation here because Adam Silver and the NBA have largely pushed for parity, right? That's been the motto.
Mhm.
That's part of the new collective bargaining agreement, or it's not even new anymore, but the CBA. It is designed not just to stop teams, save teams from themselves, prevent them from spending, but it's also set up in a way that's going to make teams make very difficult choices. And that, as I've talked about a lot, creates an inherent life cycle of a team where teams start to rise. As they rise, their players start getting paid more. Their role players get paid more. They got to sell off some of those guys in order to not incur too many penalties. They have to drop back down a little bit and they come back up. And the trick is, do you have enough young talent in there now in order to keep you afloat and at the top? Whereas the NBA would probably prefer to see nobody sitting at the top for a decade, at the same time nobody sitting at the bottom for 17 years like the Kings did, right? They want to see teams moving, and so fans have a reason to stay invested and interested in their clubs, and they don't just get beat down by multiple generations seeing their team never have a shot, or one team gets stuck all the way at the top forever. So that, I think, is a real thing. Now, I also think there is a degree where super teams aren't inherently bad, even as the NBA is pushing towards parity. Super teams also bring eyeballs, but I would question whether or not OKC would necessarily check that box, because when we think of the super teams, we think of the megawatt superstars, the bright light stars that are going to attract eyeballs. I don't know that OKC necessarily has that kind of star power. So adding more talent to OKC, does that actually help things in terms of viewership? I don't know. Viewership has been great this season. I don't think the NBA has anything to worry about. But where normally I would look at this and go, well, you just make OKC incredibly dominant, and then you've got a super team, and then you get eyeballs by people either loving or hating that super team, and you kind of go the inverse of the parity model. But I don't know that OKC specifically having that much talent would attract the kind of attention as we've seen from super teams in the past, like say when the Miami Heat had LeBron and Bosh and Wade.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess good or bad, what can you do about it? Like they manage things incredibly well to get to this point. Not only in there, they rebuilt for 2 seasons, and that was it. 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They went all the way down as they had more players playing games for them over the 2 years they were down than they actually won games, which on the size of NBA rosters, that's really hard to do, right? Like an NBA roster generally has 18 players. They had over, I think it was, I forget what the exact numbers were, but they had like 46 players playing games, and they won 44 games over a 2-year window. So they were really bad, but they built through the draft, built with really smart trades, used their cap space when they could, drafted and developed players late, developed guys through the G League over and over. So it's really just nothing you can do. Like it, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, it would be, if I was the Thunder, I would lose my mind if they changed some kind of rule now that says you can't get X pick in the draft. And I'm not saying that's what Mo is suggesting happens here.
No, like I've got people
is it good or bad?
Right, saying you can't punish teams for having great front offices. He's not saying punish, just saying in general, is it good for the league or not?
I don't think it's necessarily bad. I mean, I think about when the Warriors, like, remember what Steph was like, you're like, we hung around long enough, we became the villains, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody loved the Warriors when they were on their way up. And then they won a couple titles and everybody hated them.
Yeah.
And that's where OKC's going to get to. They're going to, they win another title or two, and then everybody's going to be like, I hate this team.
Well, get them out of here. Either already, not to the same degree as like the Warriors, but the foul calls, you're already seeing a lot of fans complain about that with Golden State, SGA, despite the fact that OKC is not really a high volume free throw team.
No.
people assume they are because SGA gets high volume free throws. But I also think this was something that I saw going around earlier today, that the foul rate in the NBA is way up this season, and they think what that is the OKC effect, where OKC last year just said, screw them. If we foul a ton,
foul rate. Yeah. At first it was like free throw rate, but now I get it.
Yeah. The NBA is not going to call all of them. And so now you've got a lot of teams that are because it's a copycat league. So now we're seeing fouls are way up as more teams are saying, you know what, we'll take the fouls and we're going to go more for turnovers, and we're going to trust that, ultimately we're going to wind up in the positive if we get 3-4 more turnovers for us per game, even though if it means we do get whistled for a few more fouls, because if we get ultra aggressive defensively, the refs aren't going to call them all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that goes back to Chuck Daly's Pistons when they were on top. The Knicks under Pat Riley were, they'll follow every play. They're not going to call all of them. That's just, they get there, but sure. I mean, I just think in general, everything's been a lot more aggressive now. I like the number of teams that are picking up deep in the backcourt and, forcing ball handlers and everything else. So, yeah.
Let's go here. Thoughts on Netflix starting 5 being canceled?
I don't really have any. I
didn't see that. I didn't even know that had happened.
Yeah, but it got announced earlier this week.
Oh, I
think it was a combination. It was a very expensive show.
Yeah,
because it takes a lot. It took 5 crews, because you basically have to have 1 crew with each player all year, and so that was expensive. I think there were a lot of players who are like, I don't really want to do this, so I think they were running into a little bit of trouble getting guys to do it. So I think that was part of it as well. I watched the first season just because it was, let's just say it was easier to borrow someone's Netflix account back then. And I don't have Netflix, so I've not watched the second season. So so I don't really have any thoughts. I was watching it anyway.
All right, let's go here. Should the Rockets trade for James Harden? Why?
No. Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't. I think they're fine. I think get healthy. That's the big thing for them.
I mean, they're still without KD the other night. They beat the work. Now Steph got hurt, but that was later in the game. The Rockets are very, very good. Not sure if you were asked, but any potential destination for Sabonis and or Levine? I mean, the Kings have plenty of motivation to sell. Sabonis is the tricky one, Keith, because doesn't shoot threes at a particularly high rate, doesn't protect the rim, and most teams want their bigs to be able to do at least one of those two things. So where does he ultimately land? There's been cold water poured on Golden State, which has been mentioned for years as maybe a landing spot, but that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So where does he go?
Yeah, I'm looking at my other screen here. Yeah, it's tough because you look at some of the teams that are pretty good. Like a lot of them don't really need a center, and if they do, they don't need a center that's kind of like Sabonis. I thought about the Spurs for him if you committed to Wemby at the 4. That could be really interesting, right? Because then Wemby kind of covers for Sabonis, and imagine adding another really good passer to that group like that. That would be kind of interesting if they wanted to make a really big kind of all-in move. But I don't know that the Kings want to go back to that. Well, again, with trading with them again after giving them De'Aaron Fox.
I've noticed something though, Keith, and that's where whenever we talk about somebody that could potentially get traded and where could this player go, the Spurs pop up all the time as a fit.
Yeah,
for just about because Wemby makes anybody a fit. Like we can slot in just about any name. Like oh, we need to find a landing spot for Malik Monk. The Spurs could maybe fit because Wemby will protect him on defense. Like there's just anybody can fit with San Antonio. But I get what you're saying with Sabonis. He's a tough one.
I mean, I'm just looking through. There just nobody jumps out.
Yeah.
Miami, but Kel'el Ware's playing great for them, so I'd probably just keep them. I don't know. Nobody really jumps out as, okay, there it is.
When it comes to Zach LaVine, would it take a situation where he says, okay, I'll I'll decline my option and we'll look to sign a new, smaller, longer term deal. Do you think with that player option sitting there, teams will not be interested? But if you do a little behind the scenes maneuvering and he says, if I can get traded to Team X, I'll decline this option, knowing that we're going to come to terms on a new deal, and maybe it'll be a little bit less per year, but I'm going to get, 3 years, 100 million or something like that. Would that be enough to grease the wheels and get a team interested in Zach LaVine?
Yeah, maybe. I think so. Then it becomes who needs a big scoring guard. And again, I know I'm not looking at the camera because I'm looking off screen here at the other screen to see where, like, again, where does he really fit? Like, that starts to become the question mark there. So
right.
tough.
That does get tough.
Yeah.
It's both good. And that's part of the problem the Kings have, is they've got guys that are very difficult to fit on a team and win. It's like they've taken all of the kind of the island of misfit toys for going, Christmas season here, and they put all these guys together on one team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I wonder, like, could you see a team like Utah do that as like a pre-agency move a little bit, where it's like, let's go get the guy now, and then we'll have him, kind of like what Toronto did last year with Brandon Ingram.
Sure.
Like, we're not going anywhere this year, but we get him, and then we'll have him moving forward.
And then what you sell marketing on, hey, look, we went and got LaVine to play with you, and let's go.
LaVine and whatever the kids we still have, and let's move forward. We'll score a bunch of points. Defense will probably be a challenge, but it kind of already is anyway. So I think that'd be okay.
All right, let's go here. Keith, what are some small moves you think the Raptors can make to improve themselves in their recent on-court success? What are they at now? 9? Is it 9 straight?
Something like that. Yeah.
For Toronto, let's see. 9 straight wins. They are the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, plus 6.7 point differential right now for the Toronto Raptors. I guess, first of all, do you buy it?
Ish. Yeah, I think they're gonna come back to earth a little bit. I don't think they're gonna slide a huge amount. I think there's just a lot of talent on that team. I just think the Knicks and the Cavs will eventually start playing better. I think Atlanta and Orlando are playing better and will continue to play better. So I think that'll be those teams kind of climbing up as Toronto and maybe Miami come back to earth a little. Detroit will drop a little bit as well. But I kind of think the top 6 in the East might be the top 6 in the East. Maybe Orlando slides in there and somebody else slides out. But that's where I think we're probably headed in the Eastern Conference. So then what does Toronto need? I think they need one more big man. Right now it's Pirtle and Mamu, and that's kind of it. All their other options at the 5 are small ball options like Colin Murray Boyles, who actually, it's so funny. He's played a ton of backup 5 this year, but he also started at the 2 in their last game, just to give us
versatility.
Yeah, I mean, he's something else. And then Jonathan Mobo, but Mobo has been playing more in the G League than he's been playing in Toronto. So, I don't want to, like, because somebody's like, so should they go for like Sabonis? I'm not looking to replace Pirtle. I just want one more guy to have in the mix. So like Jericho Sims or
Nick Richards.
Yeah, Nick Richards. Yeah, affordable guys.
Right.
Okay, like 10 million or less guy that you can kind of get for maybe Ochai Agbaji, who I don't really know what his future is in Toronto anyway. If you could trade him out and get Nick Richards, which that would be a great trade for them, because that would also get them out of the tax. They're not going to pay the tax this year. They're not ready yet. So no reason to start that clock yet, but that's it. Just a smaller move like that.
All right, let's go here. Rui Gabe, 1 second, 1 pick swap for Andrew Wiggins. Rui Gabe, a second. I think there has to be a little bit of salary added there. I'd have to double check, but it's close. But a second and a pick swap for Andrew Wiggins. I guess first and foremost, because Keith, I get a lot of fans telling me all the time, like, Dalton Connect and a pick swap for Keon Ellis. I said, well, a pick swap to Sacramento with the Lakers doesn't have much value, because the only way a pick swap has value is if you really think you're going to be better than that team in that year. And
Yep.
if Sacramento is about to embark upon a rebuild, a pick swap probably doesn't do much for them. So targeting Miami with a pick swap may be a little bit better idea. I know Miami wants a first round pick plus for Andrew Wiggins. To me, that strikes me as something that, maybe by the trade deadline they come down off that asking price. Personally, I wouldn't give that much if they don't want to come down off that asking price. But I think we could also be, given the way Miami's been playing this season, we could wind up in a scenario where Miami just says, we're not going to trade anybody away. We're not going to sell any talent. We're going to keep what we've got and then see what we can do.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know that that's for what Andrew Wiggins' role would be for the Lakers. I don't know that that's enough of an upgrade, because now you got rid of your backup point guard. You got rid of a guy who is, whether he should or shouldn't start, he's a starting level forward in Rui. And you gave up draft capital for the guy who's going to be your fourth best starter when you're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I'm just not sure that's, and then you need to re-sign him too. And you're putting yourself in a position where, what are you going to do with that? That could also completely screw up your cap space plans.
Well, Wiggins is
summer.
Wiggins is $30 million next year.
He's
so
probably opting into that because he's not going to get that kind of money in free agency. So yeah, I don't think I would do that. Connect in a first for Keon Ellis. I don't hate that idea. Yeah. I'd try to protect that first, at least, because it's going to be a couple years out anyway. Just protect yourself, and then pick up Middleton from buyout. They can't. He makes too much money. If he's bought out, the Lakers wouldn't be able to sign him because they're over the apron, right?
No, they're below the first apron.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's true.
But they don't have enough room below that apron. They would have to clear room below that apron.
Yeah, and that's the other. Like, I didn't even check to see if the math on these works on these trades. Maybe it does, but yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. I keep for some reason I keep thinking they're a second apron team. I think it's because all the guys they signed were like taxpayer MLE sized contracts, but yeah, it's first apron.
Well, and we typically think of the Lakers as one of the most expensive teams in the league, Yeah,
usually, yeah.
But if you could turn Rui Hachimura into Andrew Wiggins, do you think that's a positive move?
Like, if that was just like, probably.
Yeah.
The problem is you can't, right? Like, you have to add other stuff, and that's.
I'm just saying, which player would you rather have? Like,
yeah, I'd probably rather have Wiggins.
Yeah.
Just more versatility in there with the things he can do. But yeah, I don't know.
All right. I think fit wise, Wiggins makes more sense because of the defensive versatility that he offers. But it's not like you're right. It's not like you swap. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, Rui is a really, really good shooter. Like, and it's not like a fluke thing. He's been doing it now. This is now the third year that he's been doing this. He's shooting the ball extremely well. It's not easy to find that. Like, it would not take long. I'm not against trading Rui, but it would not take long for fans to suddenly start saying, "What, we don't have any shooting. What's going on?" If they traded Rui. Was there a second part of that I missed? No. Okay, we talked about the Keon Ellis. All right. Corby said, if Job were to get traded, where would you like him to land, and what would his return be? I think he would excel as a second option. Keith, I keep thinking Ja to Miami because I think he needs structure. I think he needs that, and maybe we overhype Heat culture, and it could go the other way and completely blow up, but I don't know. I keep having Ja to Miami in my head as something that would make some sense.
That's right where I went to, was when all this stuff came out, because I think it's a lot about getting in a place where they can take care of him and get him moving in the right direction again with his career. So yeah, Miami came to mind. For me, it wouldn't make sense because they already have a ton of other guard options, but San Antonio, for that same kind of reasoning, could make sense there. But yeah, Miami is the one where, and if I was the Heat, I'd at least be somewhat interested. I'd be curious to see, because the problem is, though, they're running a lot of the offense he didn't like last year now in Miami. So that's probably not great.
But he doesn't like the offense this year either. So
yeah, I just don't think he likes a lot of stuff.
Yeah. All right. I think Dallas should, this is Kevin said, I think Dallas should fully tank this year, sit AD for the season, get a top 5 pick as they don't control their pick for a long time after this season. I'm not against Dallas tanking. I don't like, I mean, they're already pretty low in the standings. And I think if there's, I look at it this way, Keith, if AD doesn't play all year, you just sit him down all year, and you try to trade him next year, what's his value then? Yeah. And what happens, when he wants an extension? Then where does that go? I think the guy's got to get on the court, and maybe it hurts the Mavs by them winning a few games here or there. But if they could turn Anthony Davis into something by the trade deadline this year, into draft capital, into young talent, then they really, bottom out from, the midway point of the season on, and we'll see, what that would mean for Kyrie Irving and everything. But Dallas could still wind up with a pretty high draft pick. I mean, look, they won it last year. What did they have? I think the 10th best odds last year.
Yeah, I think so.
And they still won it. So I don't know. I don't think they have to fully gun for the worst record in the NBA in order to still get a pretty solid talent in the draft.
Yeah, and they're not that far out from the last play-in spot. I mean, that last play-in spot, someone's going to fall backwards into it in the West. Like there are 6 bad teams, and one of them has to make it. So right now it's Memphis. And that's even if I'm probably giving Portland maybe a little more credit than they should be getting.
Yeah.
There. So maybe there's 7 bad teams for 2 spots. But yeah, I think if I'm Dallas, I'm just gonna kind of let things play out. I'm not gonna sit guys out intentionally, but if AD plays today and tomorrow he's like, I'm a little sore, great. You don't play the next game. Like that's like I'm gonna be extremely careful, but yeah, you just kind of keep moving. That.
Agreed. All right. Yeah. But Lou Dort gets to play football. I mean, there's
every physical defender ever is accused of that. So
yeah,
that is what it is. That's where I lose. Like it loses me because I watched and rooted for Marcus Smart for the first 10 years of his career.
That's what we've been saying. Like Lakers fans have been talking about that. I've seen this conversation about Smart previously, but that he plays like when you get a varsity football player that winds up in a PE class and is playing out in a PE class, like that's how Marcus Smart plays basketball. And it's such a great description.
The random dude who shows up at the park with work boots on.
Yeah.
And then nobody wants to be guarded by him. And his fingernails are always too long too. Yeah.
Who do you think is better at this point, Castle or Harper?
Castle, just because we've seen more.
Right. It's Castle right now.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Harper's long-term future better.
Yep. And I like both players, but I like
for sure more. Who are your current top 5 perimeter defenders?
Yeah, when I saw this, I made a quick list. I didn't put any OKC guys on here because I didn't want to the whole thing. For me, it's not that he's not very good. I think of him as more of a good all-around defender than necessarily a perimeter defender because he does really good on bigger guys to try to drive on them and take them inside too. Mm-hmm. Caruso would be up there. The problem with Caruso is it's like per minute, it's probably Caruso, but he just doesn't really play that much. So I can't. So my list would be Herb Jones, Jalen Suggs, Davion Mitchell, Amen Thompson, and Jamal Shead.
Okay.
I'd probably put you could put Asar Thompson on there. You could do Dort. You could do Caruso, but those are my top 5 guys.
Yeah, I think the one that you put in there that I would have had Caruso in and Davion Mitchell out, but to be honest, when I was thinking through it in my head, I had forgotten about Davion Mitchell. So I think he's got a good case too. There's the NBA, you need perimeter defenders. You need guys who can defend in today's league, which is not an easy thing to do with the space and the benefit that offensive players get in today's NBA. It's a very difficult thing. And so finding guys that can defend at a high level on their perimeter is extremely important. But
Chad saying Cason Wallace, good call out too.
He's another one. Yep.
SGA,
you can just put the Thunder, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Derek White's really good still. Yeah, it's well, Jaden McDaniels again. That's not. I don't think he's a top. I think he's a top defender, but I don't know that it's just perimeter. When I think perimeter defense, I think guys are defending 35 feet out on the ball, up in the ball handlers. So yeah, but
All
yeah,
right.
Jaden McDaniels is really really good.
Meerkat. I just went to the zoo the other day with my daughter on a field trip and saw meerkats. They're very
Nice.
cool. This is very fun. But anyway,
Awesome.
about adding the over/under option for your dad jokes / puns, we would be
Oh,
millionaires.
that's what that meant.
What,
I
by
was like Oklahoma University option.
the over/under on my dad jokes and puns and things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, you could take the over. It'd be a pretty safe one, I think.
Yeah,
Love the show and
probably.
appreciate you guys for info.
Oh, Dyson Daniels. How did we forget him? Nikhil Alexander Walker too.
Well, there's an argument for Dyson Daniels that his gambling for steals negatively impacts. It beefs up his steals numbers, and that inflates the
Rondo
perception of him
corollary.
as a defensive player more than it should.
Yep. That was the old thing with Rajon Rondo.
Yeah.
Back in the day. It was like, this guy, is he actually good or does he just get a lot of steals?
All right. AJ better than Peterson, better than Boozer.
Yeah, I flagged this because I went and watched AJ DeBonce yesterday.
How'd that go?
It was really good. He did not have his best game, but all the tools are there. Like legit 6'8", 6'9". He's just, he could do everything. Can handle, defend, pass, shoot, rebound. I thought he was really active defensively. In a game where a shot wasn't falling, which it's not always that way. With college players, especially the high end guys. Sometimes if their shots aren't falling, you just don't get much. And he was really locked in on that end of the floor. So yeah, I really enjoyed watching him play yesterday. I would go back tonight, but we're gonna go watch the U.S. women's team play.
That's right.
Here in Orlando tonight. So that's what's happening tonight. So I'm gonna miss a large chunk of the last night of cup play.
So there's 11 games on tonight.
Yeah,
it is the last night of cup play. Let me ask you about that, bro. I know we're running a little short on time, but
sure.
I've had a lot of people talking about, the NBA Cup over on my shows on Lakers Nation, but we still have the naysayers, of course, for the NBA Cup tournament. But I've noticed as well, and I do this myself in my own analysis, like when we get closer to the playoffs, I'm breaking down all the different playoff permutations, and if this team wins, and if that team wins, and this happens, and this tiebreaker, and all of that. I don't see many people doing that for the NBA Cup. I don't see a lot of people worrying about whether or not their team gets out of the group stage or any of that sort of stuff. I still think I'm still for the cup because I see players competing at a higher level when they're playing in these cup games. I'm seeing it matters to the players, so I'm still for it. But it doesn't feel like the tournament side of it, now that we're 3 years into it, has really caught on yet. And do you think that's coming? Do you think it's going to, or are we just going to stay kind of in this place?
Yeah, I think there's some people are doing some of it, and I think the league is doing a better job of putting things out themselves, which leads to less people having to figure things out there. I know they played with live standings the other day, which was kind of cool. Like it actually was updating as scores were rolling
like
in.
in soccer.
I don't know how often it updated, but that's something that they wanted to try to do for tonight, where they could have the scoring differential and wins and losses and obviously all that stuff. So yeah, I think we will see more of that. But yeah, it's going to take time, right? I mean, it's just going to take a little bit of time for it to get there. People are asking us to predict the NBA Cup final. We'll do that once we see the actual tournament bracket.
Yeah, once we get out of the group stage. Are the Bucks the East's biggest disappointment and the West's biggest disappointment the Clippers?
Man, I'm all in on it being the Clippers in the West.
The Clippers, sure.
I hate that team. So mad. I'm mostly mad at myself.
You're upset with yourself for believing.
Yeah.
If it's not the Clippers, it's the Mavs, I think, in the West.
Or the Grizzlies.
Sure. In the East, the Bucks.
Yeah, it's probably the Bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. mean, you could maybe make an argument for the Knicks or the Cavs, but I think that's just. I think the Knicks and Cavs are going through that very classic. We don't need to push to win every single regular season game anymore.
I think the Pacers have been much worse than I expected them to be.
Yes.
I thought they would at least be a challenge on any
That they'd
given
be like
night.
Boston.
Yeah,
Like around 500.
exactly. That's what I expected out of them. So in that sense, but with the Pacers, at least you can say, well, they've got multiple dudes out injured. They
Yeah,
got all this
that's it.
stuff
They've
going.
been hit so
There's
hard.
reasons for the Bucks. It's like, yeah, Giannis got hurt for a bit, and they really got. Yeah, I mean, they were just awful when Giannis was out.
Yep.
But like Giannis was putting up MVP numbers, and you're still, and you
They
went
were
and made the big
500.
move to get Miles Turner, and you've got all that dead money on your books from Dame, and you're still not quite there.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's. I mean, we get it, but yeah, Magic maybe. I think people thought they might be.
I was one of them. I thought they'd be a little better than this.
Yep.
Are the Wizards front office doing the right thing by going this direction of losing Young?
I'm gonna give it one more year after this one. It's like if we don't start seeing real, actual, tangible improvement after this, I'm gonna start to question. Not that they need to start like pushing for playoffs or anything, but we need to see real. Like you can't be getting destroyed every night.
Yeah, because that's going to build bad habits.
Yeah.
Does Keith
I
buy
like this because I haven't
LaMelo
seen this.
to the? I was gonna say, is this a real
some
thing? Because I don't remember seeing
IG
anyone.
random idiot posted it, and now
Yeah, that's
people are making it a rumor.
people. I mean,
If somebody can point to an actual legitimate report on this, say where in the chat, and I'll go look at it. But
anybody
the
can
answer
make
is
a
no.
graphic now, and so
Yeah.
and people just buy. Like, hey, if you put a picture of LaMelo Ball in a jersey swapped into a Celtics jersey, and then put the text on Instagram saying like, you know, LaMelo Ball could be a target for the Celtics per Mark Stein or something,
Yeah.
even though he never said
He
that.
never said it.
And people
Yeah.
will buy it, people will believe it, will react to it, they'll engage with it. And it's and sometimes I'm not saying that's what's happening here. We don't know, but we do occasionally run into rumors where people take stuff as fact and it's there's nothing behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Don't know if you answered this already, but what trade for a 3-and-D wing would you like to see for the Lakers? And what I mean, essentially the Lakers, yes, they need a 3-and-D wing with athleticism that can shoot, but also 29 other teams are saying the exact same thing. Even the Thunder, what do you guys need? We want more 3-and-D wings that can shoot, that have athleticism and can shoot. You know, every team's looking for that. So that's the difficult part. But essentially their default trade package, it's Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber, those expiring contracts. They have one first-round pick that they could trade. They've got Dalton Knecht, depending on how teams, you know, value or don't value him. And then you have potentially the expiring contract of Rui Hachimura. If you want to get in anybody else, people start stacking up like Jared Vanderbilt in trades. No, you're going to have to give a team something to take Jared Vanderbilt. He's not going to be a positive value the way he's played this season and how many years are left on his contract. So kind of your default package is expirings and the draft capital that you've got available for whatever kind of talent that you can try to find. As far as again, I don't think the Pelicans move him, but guys like Herb Jones, guys like Keon Ellis, maybe a Dylan Brooks with Phoenix, like players like that. But a lot of it's going to come down to which, if any of these players are actually available come trade season, and then you're going to have to go from there.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we kind of already ran through it too.
Right. Keith joined the Lakers Nation playback show one day.
Been on the playback.
He's been on it.
Yeah, several times.
We even did play-by-play for a Clippers Hawks game.
Yeah. We'll have another one soonish that we'll be able to talk about eventually. With Celtics and Lakers, right, is in like a week or two, the first one?
I believe so. I know I know they're going on a trip soon.
I know I just put it on my calendar. Yeah, the 5th, next Friday, or a week from today.
Oh,
yeah. I'll probably do that one with you, then I'll jump on there. Oh, okay. That's Amazon Prime, but whatever.
Yeah, we could still do it. Mm-hmm. We still do those ones. Let's see, the 5th,
December 5th.
Am I in?
Well,
I know. My wife has her company Christmas party that weekend, so I'm making sure. Oh no, I leave the next morning.
Okay.
I leave the next morning. So yeah, we can do that.
Nice.
That will work.
Yeah. All right. Somebody said, is Austin Reeves better than Allen Iverson?
I saw that. I didn't even put that one up there because like I appreciate that it's a super chat, but when we say silly stuff,
I don't know. I want the super chat money. Iced coffee in the morning. No, yeah, no, he's not better than Allen Iverson. Like Allen Iverson was really, really good.
He was
on some teams
he ran
really teams that just weren't very like. If you look at what else was on those teams, just was not very good.
No.
So somebody said Kings claim they want to keep Ellis long term, then they hardly play him. It's so weird. Yeah, I don't. That drives me crazy too.
Yeah, he should be playing more. But if they don't want to play him, I know some other teams that do.
I'll pull this. Who's the next player to sign the highest earning contract max? Probably Jokic would be my guess. I think we'll see him do a max after this season. So yeah, probably him.
That makes sense.
He held off this year only because it didn't make sense to sign.
Right.
Iverson was not overrated. Allen Iverson was awesome.
Part of that is if you look at from today's game, right? We've been taught by the way today's game is played that we have to turn our noses up at anybody who shot a lot of mid-range shots. And we see that with Kobe, we see that with, and that's not everybody obviously, but we see that with Kobe, even with Jordan to a degree, right? We look at these guys who shot a lot of 20-footers as, oh, that guy's not really any good, today, blah, 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 the basketball was played in a very, very different style. And Allen Iverson was an offense all by himself. He was, a true heliocentric player, and that the whole offense for that team was him. It was Allen Iverson. And he was absolutely one of the most talented, just pure athletes that I think we've seen across sports was Allen Iverson.
Big time. Yeah, go look at those Sixers teams that he dragged to the finals. They weren't very good. Like there just was not a lot else there besides him. And you can always tell when we're getting ready to wrap up because then they start throwing in the super chat. So we'll do these two and this is it.
Yep. Mike Fox said, Cavs need another big forward. Dean Wade hurt them in the playoffs. Could they add Ryan Dunn for an underprotected first, 2 pick swaps? Otherwise, Vince Williams.
Can the I'd have to look and see.
Can the Cavs trade all that?
Even give up that much draft capital, but that's too much for Ryan Dunn. And then Vince Williams is not a big forward.
Yeah.
He's like he's playing point guard right now and playing really well for the Grizzlies. And that's so yeah. But yeah, it's not he's more of a like 1-2 right now that could be a 2-3. But it's definitely not a big 4.
All right, let's go here. Do you think this apron business will be altered during the next CBA negotiations after teams have experienced how difficult it is, especially if you're a mediocre team?
Well, if you're a mediocre team, that's not because of the aprons. It's because you've done other things.
I was against the aprons in general. I thought not against, but I thought they went a bit too far, particularly with the second apron stuff and the way they prohibited trades. In terms, I especially thought that the rule that if you are above the first apron, you can't take back more salary than you send out in a trade. That I thought that was going to make it too difficult for two teams that were both above the first apron to make trades, and I thought that needed to be a second apron rule. But NBA teams have been really, really creative in getting stuff done, and they've been finding ways. I've been pleasantly surprised by how well they've done making maneuvers in what I initially thought was going to be a very, very restrictive collective bargaining agreement. So I don't know,
there's going to be tweaks.
Things will get altered. Yes, things will get altered.
Not going away. It's not going to change things. They're very happy with what the impact has been of the apron changes and those things. So it won't go away.
All right. And then Trevor, for those who didn't see AI live, it's not that he took a lot of middies, it's his low efficiency without context. Sure, that can be it too when you're looking at efficiency. But again, he was a one-man offense and he's like 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And
he
he's
took
out
an absolute pounding
Man.
Like he would drive. He talk about your fearless drivers for small guards. He's
Mhm.
he's not first on the list. He's way, way high on that list.
Yeah. And he was absolutely amazing.
All right, I'll finish with this. CBA is her restricted free agents. Ask Cam Thomas or Kaminga. It's not the CBA. I mean, unless you're going back to like 7 CBAs
Well,
ago.
Teams are
Restricted free agents has always been bad.
teams are more allergic to even what could even be perceived as a bad contract now. And so I think that hurts
Sure.
restricted free agents, because inherently, in order to get a restricted free agent, you have to give them what would be a bad contract. Otherwise, their incumbent team would just keep them and match
Yep.
in most situations. But the restricted free agency thing can be a completely separate thing from the CBA. And maybe that's something that tries to get addressed. But if the players do want to change restricted free agency, they're going to have to give something up somewhere else.
Yep. Yeah,
That's the way it works.
that one is had very, very little movement on it beyond just faster. Like the process used to be a 10-day process, then it was a week,
Mhm.
then it got knocked down to 3 days. Now it's a day.
Well, and when you think about it, right? Think about how many players are in the NBA. It's just under 500, right? Total in the NBA
540 if you count the
with two
guys.
ways. Okay.
Yep.
We had what, 4 big time
Yeah.
players over the summer that were encumbered with restricted free agency,
Mhm.
where it was really a problem for them.
Yep.
That the majority of players are not going to be as concerned with it.
Yeah, with the way guys extend now, very few guys get there. We're gonna see a handful more good restricted free agents this summer. Like there are some guys that are gonna make it. I did just have that pulled up so I can speak to that. But like Jalen Duren, Walker Kessler, Benedict Matherin, Jaden Ivey, Tari Eason, those Jeremy Sohan, Mark Williams. If you want to go down a little further, like those guys are all didn't come to agreement, so they're all going to be restricted free agents. So that could be interesting with that. So we'll see. But yeah,
All right. I think that's about it for
There it is.
today. I think we made it. Kate's going
enjoy
to go
the
to a
cup,
soccer game.
everybody.
What's that?
Enjoy the cup. Last day of group play for the
That's right.
for the cup. So it should be a fun night. It's been fun the first few years because it's like you're seeing teams chase points and everything else. So it'll be fun.
Mhm.
I'm gonna jump it. Like the nice thing is we're going to the game. The best thing about soccer is it's like 2 hours and you're out, right?
Mhm.
Like exactly about how long it's gonna take, and it only takes us like 25 minutes to get home from the arena or stadium. So yeah, so it'll be fun. I'll get home to catch the end of the first game, watch the live games. after.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you again, everybody. We appreciate all of you for joining. Keith, enjoy the soccer game tonight. I'll
Thanks,
be
man.
live on Lakers Nation, 7 p.m. Pacific time for Lakers Mavs. If anybody's a Lakers fan, you want to come hang out over there, we'll be on the LakersNation.com YouTube channel, doing a little play-by-play, taking questions, comments, all that kind of fun stuff. So till then, everybody, see ya and stay safe.